Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Outside the Box podcast. My name is Nick Engvall. I'm pretty excited about today's episode because I've got two young sneaker enthusiasts that are doing some really cool stuff in New York City. And if you've been listening to this podcast for any amount of time, you know that my goal with this is to help elevate the people that are doing cool things that aren't necessarily talking about just the regular old release stuff. I think that's all fun and games, but I think we could have more important conversations when it comes to sneakers. So today I want to introduce you to Ross and Alex. They started a nonprofit in New York City called Sole Purpose NYC. And I guess, guys, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Appreciate you having us on the show. It's a cool experience.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Of course.
We're more than grateful for being able to have this kind of an opportunity.
Of course, of course. It's so I guess like the best thing to start off with would be let's uh let's first find out how you guys got interested in sneakers. What was it about sneakers that appealed to you, originally?
Yeah, so, for me personally, all my life, I've been playing sports. Specifically, basketball was one of my favorite. I always grew up needing basketball sneakers. You can't play on the court without the right sneakers. You roll your ankle, it's not going to be a good experience. But, as I kept playing through school and, other teams like AU, I was really introduced to the basics there. And, as I got older, started looking, trying to find more of those cool pairs that I liked. My friends were all into sneakers around me. All my favorite athletes had their own line. Guys like, of course, Jordan, Steph Curry, KD, and the kind of more low key guys like PJ Tucker. But he had 5,000 pairs of shoes in his collection. I just thought that was pretty cool. But that was just for me.
Yeah, I'd say for me, I grew up in Queens. I've recently moved to the city. Sneakers are a huge part of my culture growing up, and then they're also something that I can share, amongst really anybody. Sneakers are, as essential as food and other things to some people. And if I had to, say sneakers have brought me really into a bunch of different worlds. I play soccer. I'm hoping to continue doing that in college. Obviously Ross and I have been able to bond over our sneakers to do some good, and that's what we look for.
Yeah, that's awesome. So how long have you guys known each other before you got starting Soul Purpose?
So all through high school, since
Okay,
ninth grade till now, we
cool.
met in high
Yeah,
school. And yeah.
And you
yep,
guys are both seniors right now?
yep.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. It's awesome. So just to hear you guys taking the initiative, as I said before we started recording, I'm just super impressed that you guys are taking this on. I think one of the things in your recent coverage was the idea that nobody else your age is taking the initiative to do this, and I think that's something really cool. And however it lasts and however it grows, like that's just a such a great start to wherever you guys want to go with it. I'm really excited to support you in any way that I can. But um, tell us how the whole Soul Purpose. So Soul Purpose NYC, right? Tell us how that all kind of came about.
So first, we were motivated by this video that we saw on YouTube, and it was a jogger running past a homeless man who had no sneakers and no socks at all. The jogger then took off his own sneakers and socks and gave them to the homeless man, and he actually ran home barefoot. I think it really hit home for us, and we were moved personally. And as we're into sneakers, I think our perspective of our shoe game was really changed. We found something that we were able to combine, our love for sneakers with a passion to help those in need. And we created Soul Purpose, made a business plan, and we actually entered our school's version of Shark Tank. They call it Spark Tank, our school Dwight, and we actually won a $3,000 grant. So that's kind of how it all came to be.
That's pretty cool. What were the other
I
kind
think
of
Ross nailed it perfectly.
yeah? What were the other kind of ideas that were thrown out for Spark Tank that you were up against for that competition?
Well, really, I think Spark Tank is like a platform that the Dwight School promotes social entrepreneurship through. So we've seen, this year a number of nonprofits, and we've seen businesses in robotic arms being 3D printed. The space really gives, pretty much us unlimited control of, what we want to do with our ideas. So it wasn't really a matter of who we were against. It was a matter of, how serious Ross and I really were. And, the Dwight School recognized that, and, they've supported us continuously throughout, and we're really grateful for that.
Yeah, that's super dope. I mean, there's just so much. I think it's so important, being older but being in this, 20 years now. I'm trying to figure out how to be a more inviting person to the business of sneakers to younger folks like yourself, because ultimately I thrive off of being around like that energy of like those the teenage years in the early 20s, right? Because everybody has a lot of fire to do what they want to do. And, sometimes that's good and sometimes that's bad, but like, it's still the energy that I want to be around because it gets me motivated. It gets me inspired and ultimately pushes me to think about things differently, right? Because everybody's really like trying to figure out what they want to do and taking a lot more risk than they do, not to pick on some of my peers that have been in the footwear industry for a long time, but after you've been doing it for a long time, it can get repetitive and you got to find ways to challenge yourself and think outside of the box, which, is why this podcast even exists, is so I can have these kind of conversations. And hopefully, both, peers of your guys's at your age and also, my peers at the older ages in the sneaker business get to hear this and think, okay, how come I didn't do that already? How come I haven't taken action to, give back into the community? Because I think, for me, and you guys can kind of talk to this too, but for me, like I always feel much more fulfilled giving back than getting material stuff. Right. And it seems kind of contradictive as somebody who's a big sneaker collector. Right. But like at the end of the day, I realize I'm just lucky to have a pair of shoes. And, there were times in my life where that was a challenge. So like now as an adult, I'm just like, I want to be able to like find guys like you that are out there pushing, along with the rest of your school, along with the rest of your sports, and trying to make the world a better place at the same time. Cause I think, we're just in a place where we need it more than ever. Right. On top of all of, my experience. But, what's like this starting process of that? Like you get the business plan. Are you thinking like in that original conversation of starting the business plan together and talking about where you wanted to go with it? Were you talking about, like working with local retailers or local spots for drop offs? Or are you talking about like, I saw the video where you guys did some kind of like, almost like feeding the hungry kind of handout, right? Where you clean up the shoes, put them back into a package of some sorts, and then hand them out to the homeless. How did you decide to do both of those things? And like, I guess, is there more excitement for you guys in terms of like where you could go with either of those ideas?
Well, I think, to start off, and I'm sure Ross is going to have, no matter who's talking, we still have more to add on. It really started off as being, I think in simplest words, we didn't think that, we would grow even to where we are today, yet along, Sole Purpose being a reality. We started off just brainstorming based on what we know about sneakers. After doing a little bit of research and wanting to give back, that sneakers and socks are amongst the most requested items in New York City homeless shelters and homeless shelters anywhere. And I think that's kind of really what brought, it to our attention that like, this is a pretty significant deal and these people, need sneakers and socks. I'm sure Ross will speak about our further plans, but when we decided to start our Sole Purpose Takes It to the Streets events, which is what you were referring to before, um, we had to figure out a way for us to get involved, but also obviously follow the rules that are in place. So anybody under the age of 21 cannot enter a homeless shelter or any facility of that nature. So this combined with the knowledge that we gained after, doing a little bit of research on homelessness in New York City, it nearly takes up to 3 months to even be accepted into a shelter system. So that's 3 months on the street. And that was something that we took into consideration. There's not just a population of homeless who are in shelters seeking permanent housing, but there's also ones that are on the street. And I think that, after we kind of we're like, well, we have two things here that we could combine and do something with it. And we came up with our Sole Purpose Takes It to the Streets. It allowed our team to interact with individual homeless people. I think being more rewarding than, like you said earlier, any pair of sneakers that Ross and I could have unboxed. It went unbelievable amount of, just gratitude and really the care that we show these people.
Yeah, and just to add on a little bit, in the beginning, we did all have that, brainstorm sessions. We only had really ideas, but we knew we wanted to work with sneakers. That was our forte. And we came up with, new and gently used sneakers and socks. I had a lot of sneakers in the back of my closet. Alex had a lot of his, and we talked to other friends, and they had the same problem. So we connected those two. And, our thing is we collect these new and gently used sneakers and socks. We clean them, sanitize them in a special solution, and we deliver them to homeless shelters in New York. So, when we get these sneakers and socks, we get them through whether it's donation box locations, mobile sneaker drives, just regular sneaker and sock drives in schools or businesses, and our PO box. Our mission is to provide, a dependable pair of sneakers and socks to every man, woman, and child in New York. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So just so everybody's that's listening or watching, I'm going to get your guys' information. We'll have that in the description wherever you're watching or listening to this. So if you guys want to, reach out or drop stuff off, you'll be able to connect with the guys to figure out how to do that, what's best for you. But, I guess I should have asked a little bit sooner, but how long has the process been for you guys been doing this? Because you mentioned the 3-month thing for homeless, before they get into shelters. So there's obviously an interesting cycle that you guys can potentially kind of, get involved with, right? Where it's hey, just thinking of maybe that person that isn't going to be in the shelter, that's going to be out on the streets longer, might get a newer pair or a better conditioned pair than a slightly worn pair. But so how did that, how long have you been doing that? And what was your kind of experience with the first time you did that publicly? Did you just get volunteers from school, friends, that kind of thing? Or what was that process like for you?
So,
yeah, go for it, Ross.
Yeah, I was just gonna say we started, all the ideas and brainstorming Sole Purpose about almost a year now, I want to say. And those events that you were talking about, we had, our Sole Purpose team members are made up of high school students and college students. And for that, our first event last year, we had, our Dwight team members come, and we set up tables. We had waters for them, and we gave out our purpose packs. And when I say purpose pack, I mean, it comes in a gift. Actually, I have a bag right here. It's not stamped, but it's one of these bags. It has our logo in the middle, and it'll have a pair of sneakers and 2 pairs of socks in them, and that's what we give out. And in those events we started last year, we had our team members come. It was kind of a little of assembly line. We had our sneakers. We had, 2 people dealing with the homeless. They were all lined up, and they would come down the line. They would grab a purpose pack. They'd get a water, and then they'd go, and the next would come. But But I think, those events are a really great experience. Like Alex said, we can't really go into these shelters and talk to these clients and give out the purpose packs. But, it's a great experience for me and Alex. And, I think it makes us want to do more, and it gets, these other kids involved who I think, they want to give back, and they want to give back in their own communities, but they don't, really know how. Some of the things that are offered to them is, not saying it's bad, but, reading to old people might not be, your favorite thing. Maybe hanging with your friends and giving out some cool sneakers and socks and, right in the homeless face and getting in that cool experience is, that's something that really connects. But
Yeah, just to add on to what Ross said, our first event, I don't think we really knew what to expect. We set up outside of Tompkins Square Park, and one of the difficult things that we have to take into consideration before bringing and setting everything up is, sizing. I mean, it's a very important thing, and it's our mission to, we don't want to turn anybody away, and we brought 125 purpose packs with us that day, in a variety of different sizes, and we were set up to go at around 9. We had a line of over 50 people at 8:45 before we even started. And within about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, I think that's even pushing it, we had given out every single purpose pack. So it was an amazing experience. Ross and I got to talk about it on our news segment, which aired on WPIX. They covered the event, and both of us were like, 25 minutes, we've helped out 125 different people just by collecting a few pairs of sneakers. So it was really awesome. Each event is so successful.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. It's crazy too, because I think like that's something that you couldn't possibly think of all the things that you're going to run into, right? Like you've mentioned, like learning about the 3-month window before people can get into shelters, the sizing thing, and I'm curious, like, did you guys do any kind of promoting of that other than just kind of, through your own contacts and then saying, hey, we're going to show up and do this, and then maybe putting up a little sign or something to get the line started?
Yeah. So in our video that we posted on social media, we promoted it on social media to start, to everyone who followed us. Me and Alex reached out to everyone we could to, let us know what Sole Purpose is doing, and, our Instagram account, for everyone to see. We put up a flyer on our Instagram that we sent out, and we actually, put up flyers around the area that we were going to be in. And we actually went into the park and gave flyers out to some homeless people. And we were like, this time, this day, come and grab some sneakers. And we also went to our school. We presented at, what we'd call a morning meeting. It's just some kids in our grade, and where everyone gets together, and you can, teachers usually talk. And, we spoke to them, and we told them what we were doing, that we need volunteers. And, that's how we got those classmates to come and help us out. But it all worked out really well. And like Alex said, we got some news coverage, and, it kept going uphill from there. The news got more donations, more following, more awareness, all good stuff.
Yeah, actually, every single one of the volunteers who signed up for our first event still is active with us today. They help us, with us increasing donation size. We rely on them to help us out. And then also, like Ross said, it just caught on from there. Since our first one, we've held a second Taking It to the Streets event where we targeted a different area. We were on the Upper West Side. This was an area that's been, it was hit by COVID. There's been a little bit of, rezoning with shelters. People are getting moved around. And we knew that this was an area that, had a good population. Same kind of situation. We set up within 1 to 2 hours. We sold out of stuff. And actually, even just through holding a second event, we were able to almost expand in a way where we had, people dropped off, and sponsored the waters. We had a few other organizations that were with us. So with each thing, we just continue to, add people to this great mission.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, and
so great.
one tiny thing to add on to when Alex mentioned the other event. I think we gave away around 250, 300 purpose packs. That was, a
Yeah,
huge
more.
increase from our other event. It was great. And we sent out a press release to all the media outlets, all the local ones, and actually one caught on, and CBS Two News came down,
Hmm.
and you know, um, they did a little segment on us, and that aired also. And it, all this been great. All good stuff. The media is great. It's just it's taking us uphill. It's all great. It's all great.
Yeah, it's that's awesome. Um, it, it, it's something I was actually meaning to ask because I lived in the city, or I lived in Brooklyn and worked in the city probably 7 or 8 years ago when I worked for Complex, and was there for I guess 2 years, 3 years, something like that. But one of the things that it's kind of like recently I lived in LA, and I'm in Sacramento now, but I spend a lot of time in San Francisco. And one thing that I always wonder about in terms of like how these types of organizations, can, and how just people in general can support the homeless is, how do you, make it diverse enough and get around to different locations enough, right? Because there's just massive amounts of people that need the help, and they're not always in the easiest to find spots. So it's cool to hear that you guys had thought about that and said, okay, cool, we're going to do this here, we're going to do this there. And I'm sure you'll spread around, the city and, to the other boroughs as you guys keep growing, right? Um, you mentioned something, and maybe this is something you had thought of or had tried or thinking about, but like you mentioned sort of like a mobile drop off type of thing. Have you done something like that, or is that something that's in the works? Because I really think that's another cool way to related to my story. So when I worked for Nice Kicks, like a long time ago, like almost 15 years ago now, when they first kind of started, we actually did that. We kind of just rented a van and loaded up the back of the van with all these shoes and, drove around and handed them out. We didn't make it like an official thing or do anything real big about it, but it was just a small way that we could give back, knowing that we had collectively, the handful of us working there had a lot of shoes. So, is that something that is in the works or that you've tried, or what's that going to be about?
Y- I mean, well, the first thing that Ross mentioned earlier, our mobile sneaker drives, this is an option that we actually, came up with as we were beginning to kind of get out of the critical point after COVID hit. And it was one of the ways where, we knew businesses, especially in New York City, were not going to be opening for a good amount of time. And, we had already launched Sole Purpose. We had, in the interim, during the, real critical time, switched over to fundraising and sourcing brand new sneakers and brand new socks so that we can meet the guidelines of the shelters. But right now, and something that we're continuing to implement is you can go on our website, and because we are New Yorkers helping New Yorkers, our team will drive anywhere within the 5 boroughs to pick up your donation. It's like safe, contactless. We stay 6 feet. Everybody has their masks on, and that's a way that we've been able to really, continue collecting donations and strategize even when things get a little bit difficult. In terms of what you're saying, um, try and drive around and donate. It's definitely come up on the table in terms of something that we would like to do. Unfortunately, there's not really a perfect system. If we happen to, we're driving around with sneakers and socks, and we come up with a homeless person who is a size 11 foot, and we're meeting him for the first time. We don't know it gets a little bit difficult. I will say that in the warmer months, even with COVID, we're able to do a bit more. We're able to get outside. During the winter months, it's definitely a lot more difficult. With COVID and winter, we have to be indoors. Smaller number of people cleaning at one time. We're still able to increase our size, but in terms of increasing the types of ways that we give back, it's definitely something that we're very much looking forward to be able to do during the spring.
Yeah, and in addition, these mobile sneaker drives are still going on. You can sign up on our website, and we'll come to you. Those have been really good, especially as Alex said, in COVID, it was a really good way to, it was a good solution. Um, and with driving around with sneakers and socks and giving them out on the street, it is tough, like he was saying, and he's right. If you have a size 11, but we don't have that, it's tough. We'd love to if we could magically do it on the back of our car. We'd do it with all the guys on the street, but it's tough. But we do weekly deliveries to homeless shelters. We started out in my family truck doing 25, 50. Our max in the truck might have been 80, 85. Our biggest now donation, we need a U-Haul. We donated 500 about a month and a half ago. 500 purpose packs fit in that giant U-Haul. We had 5 other team members, not including me and Alex, come and help us. And we went to 6, 7 shelters, and we went around and dropped them off.
Yeah, definitely the Making Spirits Bright event, which was our holiday give back. What I would say is closest along the lines of kind of doing a drive around delivery donation type event. Yeah, we loaded the whole truck, went to like 8 different shelters throughout the entire day with our team members, and just kept giving.
That's so great,
Yeah, and
guys.
I think you mentioned Nice Kicks, right?
Yeah.
You
Yep.
were at the
Yeah.
Nice Kicks. Funny little note. Night they actually, we did a little LinkedIn message to them, and we got in contact with them, and they liked what we did, and they wrote a little article about us actually,
Great.
On that
and
event.
posted, yeah, and they posted it on the Instagram, and it's on the website. I'm pretty sure, and it was like on the featured page for a little bit. I just wanted to add that. I thought it was a little funny,
Yeah, that's
but
great. That's great. Yeah, and that's it's one thing that I've come to love about like the sneaker community, right? There really is like a really solid group of people that are passionate about sneakers. Like I think, like you said, Alex, before, sneakers to some people are like almost as important as food. Like, but then like everybody, kind of needs them at some level, right? Like it's I think the community though really understands, in my experience that, hey, we gotta find ways to elevate the people that are doing good things, right? Because there's so much, so much negativity in the sneaker space, right? Because people just get upset that they don't get a pair off of sneakers app, or they don't, or they don't like Yeezys, or they don't like Jordans, and it's like none of that stuff really matters. Like we all can have our own personal taste. Let's just like keep it moving. But so I guess like one thing I was curious about, what's the process like for you guys in terms of, you know, collecting like and cleaning and that kind of stuff? Are you guys are doing the cleaning and kind of like making sure everything's good to go before you package it up to take it back out, right?
Ross, do you want me to talk about how we collect and you talk about how we
sounds good.
process everything? Okay,
Sounds good.
perfect. So yeah, so we, one of the things that we've been able to do now, I mean, obviously, COVID-19 is still an issue, and we still take our precautions and guidelines. But essentially, what Ross and I would like to do is set up a network of donation box locations, um, usually in high traffic areas. That's the best way that we consistently process donations. We've been really fortunate to have a great relationship with Harry's Shoes, which is on the Upper West Side. And we have a donation box in that store, and we also have one in their kids store. In addition, we have a box in Competitive Edge Fitness in Port Washington, and that's a way that we really, we're able to connect with that business's community, both on a level of, getting them to give back, but then also in the hopes of, we pick communities and businesses where their fans, who will be our fans, are interested in sneakers. And so Harry's Shoes has been great support for us. We've been able to collect a ton of donations from there, and then from there, we'll collect our donations, and then we bring them to Ross's spare bedroom in his apartment that we use as our headquarters. We've also gotten an additional space from the Dwight School, which we hope to be using pretty soon. But yeah, Ross, why don't you tell us a little bit?
Yeah, so right now I'm actually sitting in front of, one of the many shelves that we have of sneakers and laces and soles. So when we get these sneakers, like I was mentioning before, clean them, sanitize them, special solution, and we throw them in the laundry, and they come out, like brand new. Um, you know, we take these sneakers, we let them air dry. We have a humidifier in here to speed it up a little bit, the process, and we if the laces are no good, if the soles are no good, we replace them. If the shoe is no good, if there's any rips, tears, weird coloring, stains, something like that. If it's something, me or Alex wouldn't wear, I'm not going to give it out. If it's something I would wear, I'd 100% give it out. I wouldn't want to give out something, ugly, not right. I'd like the person to be happy. But yeah, we bring them here. At my house, we turned the patio into the cleaning area, and this bedroom, the little headquarters. But here's where, if they need laces or soles, we do that here. We transform these sneakers, like these are ready to be tied up. They have the laces out. They're straight out the laundry. These are one of the very clean ones. They're pretty white, actually. We scrub them. They come out real nice, and we make them into the Purpose Pack, our final product. And, we could either have one of these events, do a little weekly donation on the weekends. And that's really all the stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think just to quickly add on, in terms of our packing process, we're actually one of the company Bombas. So every time you purchase a pair of socks, their mission is to give back a pair of socks. We've kind of added on to that mission a little bit and become a Bombas donation partner. So we work with them, and partially part of our socks that we use to create our Purpose Packs are from Bombas. So yeah, so definitely, Bombas is a company that we look to as, kind of like a little bit of mentorship, a little bit, in terms of looking at Sole Purpose from a business side of things. We look towards them and towards other nonprofits that are established, and yeah, that's pretty much our process full circle.
That's so dope. It's so dope. All right, so you've mentioned a few things, where you've kind of run into, I guess, challenges or just things that you weren't aware of. What are some of the things that you've run into that that you just maybe just didn't expect? Some of the challenges, and like, what have you learned to deal with those things, or just make your guys' efforts here more efficient in processing those types of new discoveries?
Yeah, I think, as Alex said earlier, Sole Purpose didn't become what it is today, overnight. It took a lot of time. We're a year in. We donated over 2,300 Purpose Packs and over 8,500 pairs of socks. One of the biggest challenges was starting Sole Purpose in the midst of the pandemic. The pandemic made everything harder, not even just for us, but for everybody. As we mentioned before, also the shelters, they didn't want to take used items. They didn't want to touch anything that we had, but we had to, make them feel a little comfortable. We told them what we do. We told them we clean them, we sanitize them, have a special solution. We launder them, and they come out brand new, and they started to get more comfortable. We started to make more deliveries, and that was, one of the challenges that we faced with the shelters. We wanted to create a team. We wanted to, try and get a good team around us to help us, grow awareness, help us any day, making some Purpose Packs, lacing some sneakers, even do a little cleaning. We wanted a lot of volunteers, and now we have over 25 from different high schools and colleges. And, one of the challenges before we started was, our schools didn't want to put a box because of COVID. And now they actually, we explain to them what we do, and that, we'll close them up in garbage bags, leave them away, and we'll get them at the end of the week. And, since most of our donations come from New York City high school and college students, the sneakers can really be something special. It's not, something from, my dad always says he wears his sneakers down till his toes are coming out. It's not something like that. It's more of, a nice pair of Jordans, real nice pair of Jordans. It's something, someone would really remember getting. Yeah, Alex, you want to add on a little bit?
Yeah, no, I think, obviously with every other nonprofit organization, it takes, a lot from Ross and I, and we rely heavily on our team members and are really grateful for, the extra hard work that they've put in recently. And yeah, I mean, the media and the attention that we have been getting has just been increasing, which is great for us. But at the same time, Sole Purpose, we operate on the weekends because we're in school Monday through Friday. As much as we would like to rather be cleaning shoes than in school, probably, that's something that we do every day. We also have, Ross and I just got through our college application process in the midst of everything. And really, it's just, it's not a burden to us that we have to do this. It's more of a, how can we do more even when we're really constricted? And I'd say that's, we're already at a stage that we never thought we would be. And so, yeah, we're just looking to increase that, and that takes everyday efforts.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, so I guess with that in mind, like, coming up on, all this transition for you guys personally in life and whatever's next in the next, year or so, right? What are some of the plans for Sole Purpose and, or anything that you guys are excited about, in, looking ahead towards?
So, for the future, we want to keep expanding our service coverage area, more shelters, all the boroughs. We want to continue doing our Take It to the Streets events. We love doing those. It is a little tough right now because it's in the winter. It's very cold. Standing out there for a while is not the greatest. And, placing more donation box locations than we do now. Alex said we got Harry's, Hair Shoes for Kids, CA Gym, and some others. As good as they are at, collecting sneakers in that area, they also make a little media opportunity for us. We like, kids our age love social media, of course. We like using it. And on our Instagram, we'll always make a little event out of everything, which we like to do. So, we usually get a few followers, some more views on our stuff every time we post. So we try and do as much as that as possible. The boxes also, they're custom made. They have all of our information on it. They got our little socials on it. It just spreads more awareness. And, we just love to, work with more, organizations. We'd love to get more donations, obviously. And we hope to keep this going in the future. It's really good.
Yeah, I mean, Ross and I, we don't really know exactly what our plans will be for next year exactly in terms of us for school and of that nature. But in terms of Sole Purpose, I mean, I don't think we're going anywhere. I think this is something that now that we've established a real good, structure in terms of what we do and how we do it, it can be applied to anywhere. And, I mean, it's a good thing and also a bad thing, but there's homelessness everywhere. And there's sneakerheads everywhere. And now that we've got the perfect system, for any sneakerhead, any person who wears shoes to give back their shoes when they're done, I think it's something that we'll be able to expand far beyond what we've been doing so far. And yeah, I think we're both looking very much forward to being able to do that.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to watching your guys' journey. It's been really dope to talk to you guys. And like I said, I'm just excited to see folks like you doing good things. Any way that I can support, obviously, let me know. I'll make sure that we have everybody's information and stuff, and have your guys' stuff in the links below. I guess my last question off the Sole Purpose, what's like favorite sneaker that you guys have been rocking lately?
Ooh.
Ooh,
Ross, you want to go first?
yeah, that's a good question. I mean,
I
is it
need a
okay?
second to think.
I got like three in my mind. I got these new pair like Nike Kill Shots.
Okay.
You know, they're more walk around, but they're comfy. They're good. They go with a lot of stuff. For basketball, I got these Peach Jam KDs. I'm loving them, and I got some Air Max 95s. You know, multicolors. I'm loving. Those are all my three go tos right now. Three go tos.
Nice, nice. Good choices.
I'm gonna, yeah, solid choices for sure. I actually, thinking about that question, I can't really decide which. I mean, I've got, I love my Jordan 1s. I actually have this really cool of Converse weapons that my dad actually kept around from when he was back in the day and he played in them. I think it's a really cool shoe that kind of helped shape our sneaker culture today. But I think Ross and I can both agree for sure that the last pair of sneakers that we gave to a homeless individual were definitely, our favorite pair so far.
Right on. Well, I appreciate you guys taking the time. It's been a pleasure talking to you. As I said, any way I can support you guys, whether that's connecting you with people in the city that I've worked with in the past or work with now. We'll talk after we hang up here. But I guess last but not least, let's like make sure that everybody knows your guys' Instagram handles and website and that kind of thing.
Yeah, our website is solepurposenyc.com, and all of our social, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Sole Purpose NYC. You can find out more about us, donate, do whatever you want, check us out, drop a follow. But yeah.
Nailed it. Perfect.
Right on. All right. Well, we appreciate everybody listening. Make sure you give these guys a follow, hit the website, find out how you can support them. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Peace.